Ladies and gents, Fabrizio Romano has given a massive Tottenham update with regards to Eberechi Eze and Mohammed Kudus. And Tottenham are prepared to spend a lot of money. Reports coming out that Tottenham could do £150 million, which is absolutely surprising considering we are owned by Daniel Levy. But I want to talk about two potential transfers. One is very likely. One is a maybe at this moment in time with regards to Tottenham's front three. How does it all fit in with Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, Matthias Tell, Dominic Solanke, Richarlison, Heung-min Son? We have got so many forwards right now. It's absolutely insane. We're going to break it all down in this video. Make sure you go down, smash a like on the video if you're new around here. We are less than, guys, 1,000 subscribers now. We're 850 subs away from hitting the big 60,000. If you haven't already, please go down, smash the absolute granny out of that subscribe button and let me know your thoughts. We're going to start off with Eberechi. Actually, no, we're going to start off with Mohammed Kudus because this is the breaking news that has come out from Fabrizio Romano in the last hour or so, and then we will move on to Eberechi Eze. Now, Fabrizio Romano said at 10:07 this morning, to be precise, he said the following, and this has got me excited. Talks between Mohammed Kudus and Tottenham on project/personal terms are underway. Positive approach. Kudus open to joining Spurs while talks continue with both player and West Ham sides. There are two more clubs still involved in the race. I'm not entirely sure who the two clubs are. I think one of them may be Chelsea, but of course they've brought in João Pedro. They've brought in Jamie Gittins. I also think Arsenal have been heavily linked. I'm surprised Newcastle United aren't involved in this deal, or at least we don't know if they're involved because he hasn't mentioned the club. But we know that their main transfer target is Elanga. But Mohammed Kudus in a Spurs shirt, that is the sort of winger we need. A very versatile player, a player that can use his pace effectively, a player that can play in the 10. I honestly think he is going to be a fantastic signing under Thomas Frank. The fee reportedly is about £50 million, which is pretty much going rate. And who says that Levy doesn't spend the money? You look at that front three with 50 million on Mohammed Kudus, 50 million on Brennan Johnson, 60 million on Richarlison, 60 million on Dominic Solanke. You're looking at just in those four players, well over £200 million. Mohammed Kudus, to me, would actually probably be one of the best wingers, if not the best winger at the football club. 80 appearances in a West Ham shirt with over 30 GA, and a guy that has played under dinosaur managers like David Moyes, Lopetegui, and now playing under Graham Potter, a player that I don't think has been utilised properly. And I think this will be a long-term left wing signing for Tottenham, a player that has got Champions League experience, a player that has got Europa League experience, which is exactly what we need. His predominant position is a right wing position. Of course, we've got Brennan Johnson, and I think those two will heavily rotate. As well as on the left, we've got Matthias Tell. I think, you could see him and Kudus heavily rotate, a guy that can play on both sides. But I think this gives Tottenham a much better dynamic under Thomas Frank. You think of the overlaps and the amount of attacking runs that Destiny Udogie and Pedro Porro make. This is only going to help players like Mohammed Kudus. And when you think of a front three going into next season of Brennan Johnson, Kudus, and Dominic Solanke, the only drawback to signing him is, of course, we would miss him for 4 weeks or so as part of the African Cup of Nations. But that was the same if we were going to sign Semenyo, because of course they both play for Ghana. That would be the same if we would have signed Mbuemo, because of course he's a Cameroon international. So, we will lose him for a few months, but I think him in a front three, like I said, with Johnson and Solanke, and we never really played to Solanke's strengths. This is something that really annoyed me. Solanke, the season we signed him from Bournemouth, was one of the best strikers in the Premier League when it comes to heading the ball. He scored more headers than practically any other player going into the season where we signed him. And then we just didn't ever really cross the ball into him. It was more about keeping the ball on the ground. But I honestly think when you look at players like Bergvall we've got, when you look at Maddison, when you look at Kulusevski, I think Tottenham are really building something under Thomas. Now, I just want to show you guys what this potential 11 could look like going into next season. And of course, there are some players that are missing out. There's going to be no Kulusevski. He, of course, will still be heavily in the squad. There is no Papa Matasar. There is no Basuma, although I do think Basuma will go. And the one player that is in that back line who is heavily linked to a move away is Christian Romero. I do think he possibly will be joining Atletico Madrid. There's a lot of reports out there that he will be. But Kudus on the left with Udogie, I think that is going to be one of the best left-hand sides in the Premier League going into next season. Now, there is a bit of bad news. One player that we have been heavily linked with for such a long time, a player that, you know, I'm such a big fan of this player. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Fabrizio Romano has gone and retweeted his tweet yesterday with regards to Eberechi Eze. Arsenal have made contact with Eberechi Eze's camp over the weekend. Contacts are taking place for Crystal Palace star. We've informed on the deal conditions. Tottenham remain also keen on Eze. I'll be honest, if we're going to spend £55 million on Mohammed Kudus, I don't think personally that we will go out as well and put 68 million release clause on Eberechi Eze. If we do, then that will be the most ambition that Daniel Levy and Enoch have shown in a long, long time. I really like Eze, but I'm not going to lie, it is a massive kick in the teeth. I think he would have been such a good player for us, but I am still very happy with Kudus. If we would have brought Eze in, that would mean he'd probably be coming in as a 10. When you think we've already got Maddison, we've already got Kulusevski, I think we need a winger. I think we need a DM. A DM for me is going to be the priority for the remainder of the transfer window. Get Kudus over the line and then bring in maybe Belieber at Brighton. He's probably going to be 60, 70, 80 million pounds, but there should be 4 or 5 players on the club's radar right now when it comes to who and what players we're going to sign. And you think Tottenham we've got a lot of games this month. We've got Reading, Luton, Arsenal, and there's one other friendly taking place. And the next month we've got the Super Cup, which is only about 6 weeks away. And then we've got Bayern Munich and Newcastle. So pre-season is going to come thick and fast. We need to make sure that we've got Mohammed Kudus on the plane, ready to go for the pre-season, because it's only a few weeks away. You know, we've got a couple of games over in the UK where we play Luton and we will be playing Reading. And then before you know it, we're going to be on our Asia tour playing Newcastle, Bayern Munich, and of course, playing Arsenal. And then before you know it, we've got the Super Cup coming. So players like Mohammed Kudus are going to give us the best opportunity to really go and achieve something again next season. And I'm really excited about Thomas Frank. I think he's got all of the necessities and all of the characteristics to go and be a really successful manager. And for once, I'm actually buying into a project that Tottenham are doing. And it's a fantastic start when you look at, if we spend 80 to 90 million pounds and bring Matthias Tel in and Mohammed Kudus, and the winger options we've got next season, I think Son's going to go. But on the left, you can play Kudus and you can play Matthias Tel. On the right, you can play Johnson or Kulusevski. Striker, you've got Richarlison and Solanke. 10, you've also got Kudus and Maddison. Midfield options in terms of a central midfield, you've got Archie Gray, you've got Sarr, you've got Bentancur, you've got Basuma, and you've got Bergvall. I still think we need a DM and we need another centre-back, although we have brought in Danso, we've got Romero, but he's likely going to go. I really wanted Gahey, but that's probably unlikely right now at this football club. You know, when you look at the situation with regards to Liverpool Football Club, they're advancing with regards to Mark Gahey, and look, it's another kick in the teeth. But yeah, it's going to be a very busy transfer window for a lot of clubs. Make sure you hit every step of the way. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we're steamrolling our way towards 60,000 subs, under 1,000 away now. So if you haven't already, please go down. Let me know your thoughts. Drop a like. I've got a transfer video coming out, one on Liverpool later, and then I think there'll be one on Arsenal tonight. So make sure you're there. Then we're talking Chelsea tomorrow. There will be lots of content out on the second channel regarding Manchester United potentially signing Ollie Watkins, as well as City getting knocked out the Club World Cup. I will see you soon. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching, and I am